Happy Friday, all my tarot people, all my party people, all my crazy people. um, let's get me in the shot here a little bit more. So, today, funny thing about Friday is like it kind of like becomes its own special like day separate from the week. I mean, we have the weekend and we have the week, but Friday's like that magical day where it's like it's Friday. Nothing matters. All you're focused on is like what you're doing in the evening. I mean, I feel like that's how it was, at least for me, when I was doing Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or whatever, and it was all about Friday night. And like, what are we doing? Are we like getting out there? Are we drinking? Are we having a good time? And it's funny because like you don't really think about Saturday morning. You don't really think about the future. You just there's one specific point in the time and of all time that you just focused on, and you're so ready to have like the greatest time, and you pour all that energy into that time. And I always had a great time, and it makes me think about like our perception of time and like future versus now. I mean, I used to get like really. I mean, when I was in college, I was always like, okay, graduation day is there, and I have all this time in between there, and I have to do all this stuff between there. But like, we still have right now. But I mean, I couldn't really foresee after graduation, like I studied hard and I did what I needed to do because I had that time period where I had like this. My mind was able to wrap around it because we can't really wrap around the future because it's not really guaranteed. Like, you could get hit by a bus, or I should not say that because today is a really sensitive word day. But I mean, like, you could meet somebody and like it could be amazing, or it could just you know just you don't know. And so that's the beauty of the future. It's frightening, and it's just it's terrifying, but it's also like magical in a sense. Like, I had somebody who we were really we had a really good connection, but it wasn't the right time in our lives. And this was like during college, and he created this like 5-year plan, and he was like, here, let me propose this to you. And I'm like, get the fuck away from me. This is frightening because it's so terrifying for me to think about being, tied down. But I really cared about this individual at the time. I mean, over the years, it kind of other things happened that I didn't really care about them as much. But and that's how time kind of works. Time does heal all things, and so you can eventually, if you feel heartsick, or you're waiting for something going on right now, and you just like, I can't wait for it to happen. It'll happen, and the time, just the energy and the time you spend worrying or waiting for something will take precedent over all of that. Sweet Williams. I don't know what that's supposed to. But I mean, it's interesting because like we plan for a future, but we can only plan really up for the 4 or 5 years. I mean, like, if that. I mean, the 5 years is like a good amount of time to like think about trying to get something accomplished. Or 4 years. I mean, that's why they have college for projected for that long. But many people go over, and many people are constantly studying their entire lives. I mean, it's just an interesting thing to think how we plan for the future, but it's not truly guaranteed. And we can have our safety nets, and we can have our, hopefuls and ideals, and somewhere in the middle, they all kind of mix together. I mean, I've been actually really living on the day to day, and that's been actually very low stress for me because I overstressed. I was thinking about the future and trying to like make everything happen, and it just all compounded into me. And so I think if we if we plan and make precautions and have a safety net, I think that living on a day-to-day oh my goodness, excuse me, day-to-day mentality of like emotional happiness is perfect. But then also there's a trajectory of like idealism or idealistic things that you can project over a certain period of time. My thing is, I always end up getting stuck in like a certain mind frame for a bit, because I have a lot of fixed planets, even though I'm mutable, you know. Woo, mutable. You know, that's just my kooky nature. But you know, emotionally, I have a tendency to be fixed. And part of that, for me, is breaking that apart and just being able to experience the daily on a more mutable level, like incorporating it into more of my personality. Which is why I usually don't invest emotions in things so quickly unless I know that they're stable. And I think that really applies with a lot of things in our life. We know ourselves fairly well, but we're always, you know, gaining new information and training ourselves to be better and different every day. I mean, at least I hope you guys are, because that's, you know, I feel like that's really the purpose of life, is to make yourself better every day. But you know your pitfalls, and you know your habits, and you know your strengths and weaknesses, and you can kind of gauge and manage, you know, how to approach a situation. But then also you can try something new and different too. You can say, you know, maybe I'll try, I know that I have this certain way of doing something, so maybe I'll try and approach it in a different way. And we've got a lot of things happening at this end of this month and into August that are going to be very important, and it's going to put us in the driver's seat. Uranus is going in retrograde, Venus is going in retrograde, so it's going to shape a lot about how we see things in terms of value and um, not necessarily love or romance, but I mean, Venus is the planet of admiration and nice things. It's the feminine aspect planet. So it's that kind of atmosphere in our lives, and whatever house it falls in for you, it's going to be affecting. And so it's important to reevaluate things, because in our lives we can always reevaluate and shift and change. Now, this is like a daily thing for us, and so it's important to you know, emotionally understand the changes that are happening on a daily level, but also how they're going to affect our future expenditures and interactions and life. And I mean, I don't believe in this like whole doomsday crap that everybody wants to like pin on us to make us, you know, fearful, because I don't think that fear is the right motivator for any of that. I think that love is the most powerful motivator, and I have always approached things with love. I mean, yes, it does tend to burn me a bit because people are so fearful of a lot of things, and so fear can be painful to somebody who loves, but I know that I'm very powerful and magical, and that any fear that tangles with me is bound to find itself a bit warped afterwards. So, you know, I don't worry too much, because that's fear, and love always wins. Fuego always wins as well. Fuego! Let's not get in my coffee. Come on, go! Also, wind wins as well. What was that? Rock, paper, scissors, Spock? Lizard Spock or something? They should add wind in there. I mean, if they have fire, they should add wind. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Yeah. Never shutting up either. I will, I will not be silenced. As an Austrian person who, I I am a history buff, and I've watched several movies about the Holocaust, and they always mention it. I mean, it's still a big war within our century, and we talk about there's been a lot of wars, but I mean, this is like a world war. I mean, yes. I feel like in the last few years we've been trying to really be like, oh, it's in the past. We're not going to think about it anymore. We're focused on wars of the future and what's happening now because of being distracted, and they want to distract us. And it's really honestly, it's the same motif that's just happening on different levels. I mean, it's always some group that's trying to brainwash hatred of another group and trying to convince other people that their point is right with fear and hatred. And as long as as long as you're staying silent and allowing, they win. And they are you are creating a hostile atmosphere for those people who are just trying to be. And so, and love. And really, it's always been hate versus love on a large or a small scale. And as a very, very powerful woman, being, witch, magical high priestess, whatever you want to call me, I preach love and understanding and self-improvement to combat those aspects of hate that are so pervasive in our society, because I cannot stand it. I just fear and hate. I want to banish it. I want to banish it to the depths of the universe, and I want to take my hands and just peel away that layer around the earth, and I want to crumple it up, and I want to just throw it out there into a black hole so that it can be demolished and broken apart somehow in its infinite massive black holeness or whatever. Clearly I know how they work. Clearly but I'm so tired of fear, and I'm so tired of hatred, and I'm so tired of closed minds. I'm ready for a revolution of love and peace and happiness. And that is what I will continue to bring to the table. I am a warrior of love, and nothing and nobody can stop me. No matter how many times I've had my poor little heart ripped out of my chest because of someone's careless actions, I'll never give up, because that's just not who I am. And I don't care if that's a foolish thing in some people's minds, because those minds are not mine. And my mind is very powerful and very strong and very directed towards a specific goal of making things better. And I shall always do that until the last breath escapes from my lips and my lungs, and I am no more. Because what is life if it's not full of love? And love is worth fighting for. Splash! Alright, let's get to the cards. We have the 8 of Cups. Interesting. 6 of Cups, reversed. 10 of Swords, upright. And 7 of Cups. Interesting. We have a very emotional day. Holy crap. Yeesh! Oh god, I'm getting like premonitions. Oh boy. Okay, so we have 8 of Cups, leaving an emotional situation behind. We have the 7 and 8 of Cups, upright. So we have almost like, it's like, okay, and the 6 of Cups. So we're moving forward. We're moving past, like, the 6 of Cups. But it's reversed, so it's still kind of, I feel like sometimes it still kind of points back to the card before it, which is the 5 of Cups, which can make us feel like we're only focused on, like, negative and sad and, like, lack and what we don't have emotionally, which kind of is, like, a little bit what I was kind of waxing about, like, focusing on the fear and on the negative, on the sad. So perhaps tomorrow there's a slight tinge of that, but I feel like we're moving forward because we have the 6, 7, and 8 of Cups. So we're kind of making this leap and bound. And we have the 10 of Swords upright. So we're ending something. We're no longer subscribing to a certain emotional pattern or emotional thought or emotional situation that has probably been pretty pervasive for us. You know, and it seems like it's definitely, and the 8 of Cups is always your choice. You're always choosing to leave. And I always think that's really empowering, because when you make the choice to be like, you know what, I'm leaving this situation behind. I mean, it's definitely 7 of Cups. Yeah, it's emotional. There's lots of things you think about, but you leave it and you're like, I feel better. I feel more in control. I don't feel like the situation has me over a barrel, but I have left it behind, and now I'm walking forwards into something different, something new. We're walking into the 9 of Cups, basically. We're walking into our dreams, our wishes. And yeah, the 8 of Cups in the foreground always has the 5 of Cups there. So we're walking away. We've gone out of our hopelessness and despair of our 5 of Cups, and we've added a few more cups to give us more options, and now we are walking into a direction that's positive and favorable in our minds. You know, the 10 of Swords is always pretty brutal, because I mean, we've got this person with the swords in their back, but swords are always kind of like having all the answers, and sometimes it's actually more painful not to have all the answers. Like, if you don't know the whole situation, you kind of feel yourself being stuck, in a sense, in a situation where you kind of like, I don't know whether to move forward or not because I don't have all the information, and I don't want to move forward because I don't want to, you know, miss out on any information that I might get if I still stay in this situation. You know, I mean, yes, emotionally, it's very applicable, but I mean, it can apply to whatever is really, like, most pervasive in your life. Whether you're, you know, trying to leave a job, you're trying to move, you're trying to figure out if you know, need to do something for someone you're taking care of, you know, like, it doesn't necessarily always relate back down to, like, a one-on-one relationship, or it can even be a relationship with a group of people. It's, you know, I love the cards because it really helps, like, people, whatever is, like, most standing out in their mind, it that's what we're applying it to. Excuse me. But, you know, be sure to have something, to comfort you tomorrow. You know, break open a thing of ice cream or whatever your little guilty pleasure is. Go for, um, treat yourself. Treat yourself. Because tomorrow's gonna be it'll be emotional, but you can get through it because we can, as long as we can foresee that there is a future after something that can be stressful or hard to deal with, we know that we can get past it and we can keep on moving. And so we have the Chariot upright, the Three of Swords reversed, and the Prince of Pentacles reversed. And interesting, we had the Prince of Pentacles today reversed, along with the Prince of Cups reversed, and the Chariot upright as our punctuation. Interesting, we're getting it again. So we're moving. It's a movement. It's this whole weekend, I believe, is going to be a movement of sorts, and we're moving out of emotional situations, and it's a very important because we need to have the consistent. We need our rational and our irrational mind together to move this chariot forward. And we're getting over this, so the Three of Swords usually tends to speak to heartache and emotional situations, and because there's a little heart and three swords in it. And so in reverse, it's you're getting over something that may have caused you a disappointment or grief, and you're moving past it and to a profound, brighter understanding. And it can maybe confuse you in a sense of trying to do practical things. Maybe you're more distracted and you're not able to get the things done that you really need to get done. But as long as you can pull it together and bring it forward, you can you can get things together, and you can turn this card around, and you can get going past this Three of Swords. I mean, the Three of Swords always seems so oh no, stabbed through my heart. And yes, that can be painful, but as somebody who's experienced that quite a bit in her lifetime, you get over it, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I was so melodramatic about it. I mean, you just move past, you grieve, and you allow yourself to feel, and then you start feeling better, and you don't just pull yourself back into that cycle of oh well, they're not here, and then everything's shit, and or I didn't get that job, and oh, life is shit because I would have had a great whatever at that job. It wasn't meant for you. It's just my so-and-so is no longer with us, and it's a very sad thing, but now they're off in a better place, and they're no longer feeling the pain that they felt on this earthly plane, because it was their time. They've taught us all our lessons, and now we need to apply the lessons that they have taught us to our life. Oh, that friendship is over. Oh, I miss that person. We had all these good memories together. But that time has passed. We're no longer on the same pathway, and so I need to find new people on this new path that are more congruent with my mindset. I mean, it's easy definitely to look at it in those ways, and it's hard to feel, but it's possible. It's possible to go through and to be done. It's a wonderful feeling to know that you can get over anything, basically, and it's not, and you'll be less scathed if you don't let it affect you for so long. All right. I am forever grateful for your loving kindness and for the joy that you bring in my life. You are a gift of the eternal heart of love, a blessing from the most benevolent universe. Life is a cycle of changing seasons. Let us welcome in each new season and surrender the past with grace. Let us remember that nothing is ever lost. All exists eternally within our hearts. Surround yourself with nature, and you'll feel a greater sense of well-being. Nature's healing energy is sensual and magical, and will awaken the sensual magic within you. Stop taking life so seriously. Achievements and possessions will pale into insignificance when your soul's journey back home to the light, which everything stems from. I am so grateful for you, my love. You give so freely without condition. Life is an endless flow of blessings because of your great love. Go, be well, enjoy yourself.